And Woody likes the crooked cock.
Big guy, 20 plus stone, which is 240 pounds. And they timed it. Prison is like high school mentality with deadly consequences. They knew my parents were flying 5,000 miles to visit me for Christmas. So they timed it. The attack, this big guy attacked me just as I'm walking down this corridor to visit my parents. So he sneaks up behind me. He's like, bam, bam, chicken shit move, didn't get in my face, comes up behind me, kidney punching. And, you know, I'm not skilled in the arts of fighting at that point. So I turn around, start throwing some kicks and punches. You got no choice. The prisoner's looking at you. If you don't hit back, you're a punk. Everyone's got to prey on you. I'm throwing some kicks and punches, and I end up getting beat down on the floor. Didn't work out well for me. Fortunately, a staff member came, and it ended. My mom sees me at visitation. I'm all injured. She asks what's wrong. I can't say, you know. She's already had a nervous breakdown on my situation. I did manage to get moved out of that cell. And my new cellmate, Long Island, he come from a prison where his neighbor said to him, look, I did business with this guy on the streets called English Sean. He's a good dude. If you run into him, look out for him. Now, bear in mind, there's 60,000 people in the Arizona Department of Corrections at that time. So it's weird how people came out of the blue to help me. People came out of the blue to harm me. So Long Island goes, look, I've got a friend, Two Tonys. You want to play a game of chess with him? He knew if Two Tonys liked me, he would take me under his wing. He didn't tell me that. He was a bit more slick. I said, yeah, you know, fine. What's he in for? Oh, he's old school mafia, multiple homicide murder, 141 years. I'm like, whoa, hold on a minute. You want me to play chess against this guy? If I win, I might be next on his list. You know, he just goes and gets him, and he comes down the stairs like Uncle Junior. He's already served 20. He's already served 20 plus years. I'm stood in the day room over the chessboard, nervous, sweating. He sees that. He puts me at ease in a fake British accent. He's like, "Have you have bloody tea and crumpets with the Beatles?" And you know, joking around, clowning around. I beat him at chess, and at the end of the game, he says, "Look, how come you beat me so fast?" I said, "You kept speaking your mind all through the game. You wouldn't show someone your hand in a game of cards, would you?" And he slaps his head. He goes, "Oh, me and my big mouth." I didn't know it. He was testing me. He said, "Look, Sean, to stay alive on the road of life, I've had to become a quick judge of character. I like you. I think you're an honest guy. Would you be willing to write my life story?" I said, "Yeah, I would be honored." So I wasn't supposed to be going in his cell, but he had prisoners outside watching for guards. For months on end, I'm going in his cell. He's telling me his life story. Absolutely fascinating stuff. So the lieutenant in the Bonanno crime family who Two Tonys came up under was Charlie Bats Battaglia, who'd whacked people from coast to coast, got away with it, and was an expert in getting rid of the bodies. So Two Tonys is telling me all these techniques about disposing of corpses. For example, you get a hole dug really deep, get the corpse in there, put some dirt over it, and then put a dead animal, you know, a few feet above it. So if the cadaver dogs come out, they hit on the animal and then they stop digging. But the way the Bonanno crime family solved that was they had double-decker coffins. So they'd have a genuine person whose funeral it was, someone they'd whacked would also go in the double-decker coffin, and they'd either get buried or that's how they got rid of the corpses. So yeah, I wrote Two Tonys' book. It's called The Mafia Philosopher, Two Tonys, but sadly he died in 2010 from his liver cancer from his own drug taking. As a lot of people do in prison, because hepatitis C is just absolutely rife. A lot of the guys are sharing dirty needles and stuff like that. So Two Tonys, there was a situation with a shot caller whereby I'd written about prisoners were buying items from the inmate store and they were making their own syringes out of these items. And I put that online, and then the shot caller said, you know, that's tantamount just to putting our secrets out there. Put out a green light to have me smashed or killed. And like for 2 or 3 days, the whole yard was in uproar because the fellas were liking me. I was doing this blog called John's Jail Journal. My writing was got in online. My parents would type it up. My aunt would type it up, you know, put it online from my letters that I was sending home. And the prisoners were getting followings. Like people were sending them letters and pen pals and books. We were filling the whole library up with books. We had like a real Shawshank Redemption moment where like 54 books came in 1 week. So half the yard was supporting me, saying I was doing a good thing, and half the yard were like trying to attack me. Anyway, Two Tonys called in a favor, and after 2 or 3 days of craziness, people trying to get in my cell, other people protecting me. After 2 or 3 days of craziness, it all just died down. So potentially could have saved my life, yeah. But that's what it's like, and anything could happen at any moment.
You mentioned you got into a fight and it didn't go well. Is it okay to lose? Is there an honor?
Absolutely. The honor is not walking away. The honor is showing heart. So when you go into prison, into jail, in remand, the first thing they want to know anywhere, your charges, that's a charge check. And they'll also do what's called a heart check. So they'll send someone to you and they'll probe you, find out about you. And then that person might like try to intimidate and bully you just to see how far they can go with it, to see if you're a weakie or if you're showing heart.
Huh. So what's the correct, I imagine that's a tightrope, right? Like if let's say you weren't on Two Tony's good side and he sends some, big Italian lug into your cell. How do you walk that line of, not being outright aggressive towards him when he starts threatening you, but also not looking like a bitch? Because I'm sure you go too hard at him, he'll be like, yeah, this guy's a fucking problem. Let's whack him, or whatever the hell it would be.
So when I was living with the serial home invader torturer who got his friend to attack me, before his friend attacked me, I sensed that was brewing, and they would come in the cell and talk shit to me, and I thought it was going to go off in the cell. And I'm thinking in my head now, if these guys are just going to punk me, that's it. It's over for me. The rest of my life in prison, I am just screwed. So I had like my pens right next to me, and I was just going to go stick a pen in one of their eyeballs. I would just have to I would have to have made an example. Otherwise, I would have been raped, attacked, extorted, everything. So it's that tense all the time, and I could barely even sleep. I'm not a violent person. I'm thinking there's 3 guys in here, big guys. They could just fucking take me down and rape me or anything. If I stick a pen in one of the eyeballs, if they try to rape me, I'm just going to straight shit in my hand and fucking just rub it all over them, rub it in their faces. These are the levels of demented behavior that these environments force you to think about what you're going to have to do, because you're going to have to retaliate full on if they do something to you. Otherwise, you're a punk.
My next question. Is it okay to win, right? Let's say you're in a fight with some guy and you win 1 out of 10 tries, right? Like, your odds and you think you've got a 10% chance of winning, but it's your lucky day. Now what? You know the score. That guy knows the score. Does he get rematches until you're properly punished for winning a fight? Is it okay to win?
It depends on the level of the beef. So most beefs are squashed with a one-on-one fight. The gangs do not want people jumping in on either side, whether it's within a race or outside of a race. Got a bunch of whites jumping in